Hey everyone, it's me Lone. I hope you're doing alright. Today's video is a level up guide for Starfield. There are already a bunch of other level up guides out there for the game, and they all use a fairly similar method of finding a planet, building an outpost, and crafting a ton of items to get XP fast. This video is no different, but I'm going to try and cater it more towards beginner players. I'm going to walk you through the process slowly, show you exactly what you need to do to set it up relatively quickly. It took me about a night to set up my system. And importantly, I'm going to show you a way that does not use cargo links. Cargo links can be great, but I know they're a bit daunting for new players, and more importantly, they're actually a bit bugged right now. I've seen a bunch of threads on Reddit of people saying, I set up my cargo links correctly, they were working great for a while, and out of nowhere, they just stopped working. I don't want that to happen to you, so this system will not use cargo links at all. You can just go to one planet, one spot, build your outpost, and craft a bunch of items to get XP fast. I hope you enjoy this video and it's helpful for you. Before we get into the guide though, I do have a favor to ask of all of you. Recently, I worked with ABC Gamer on a couple of Starfield videos. The first one just went live, and I'll link that in the description below, and I'd really appreciate it if you could go and check it out. In that video, I talk about Starfield and how it differs from past Bethesda Game Studios games like Skyrim, Fallout 3, and Fallout 4, and it's over 50 minutes of goodness. I'm sure you will enjoy the video, so again, if you can check it out, linked in the description below. The second video should be out soon after this one goes live. As soon as that one is out, I'll also link that in the description below too. There, essentially, we go through the spaceship system in the game, and I show you how to steal a spaceship. It's pretty funny, that video. You're going to want to check it out when it's live. So thank you so much to ABC Gamer for the opportunity. It is a hashtag ad, hashtag sponsored collaboration between us, and thank you so much to everyone that does click on the video. So with all that out of the way, let's get to this level up guide for Starfield. Alrighty, so we're in the game, and step one is to find a planet to build your outpost on. Here you do have a couple of options, and I'll walk you through them both. Option 1 is going to the Narion system and finding the moon called Androphon. This comes from YouTuber Kibbles Gaming. I actually think he's responsible for this entire XP method in the first place. The way I got it is from a Reddit user, and I'll shout out that person in a second. But Kibbles Gaming found this planet or this moon called Androphon. And Androphon is so good because it has aluminum and iron on it. And in particular, you can find certain spots where aluminum and iron are in the exact same location, so you can mine them at the same time. And not only does that allow you to craft a lot of adaptive frames, which gets you the XP very fast, but aluminum and iron is just so important in the game that you're probably going to want to set up a farm for those resources anyways. So that's the beauty of Androphon. There are a couple of downsides though. It can be difficult to find the spot that has both aluminum and iron. Kibbles Gaming walks through the process where you essentially have to find a spot between the craters which have aluminum and the mountains which have iron. There is a sweet spot that you can find in between these two biomes where you can find spots that have both. This can be tricky. This can take you upwards of 5 minutes, maybe more if you're unlucky, to find a spot that has both. The alternative is just to go to one spot with just aluminum, build one outpost there, and then go to one with just iron, build an outpost there, and then link them up. But as I said, I don't want to have any cargo links or transfer links or anything like that. So we're just going to try and find one spot that does have both. And the way Kibbles Gaming suggests that you do this is, again, going to this middle spot. But you can see how this spot, when I select on it, it says mountains. And then if you go to the left a little bit, it might say eventually it'll say craters. No. There it is. Finally, it says craters. Essentially, you want to try and find the middle spot where it's close to the mountains and close to the craters. And you can see this is the spot that I've picked here, which is essentially when I pop out, you can see both biomes in one. You can see the mountains and you can see the craters. And then to try and find the resources that you're looking for, you pull up your little outpost system, and you can see in the top left corner, there is not only iron and aluminum, I keep saying aluminum, aluminium is the proper way, iron or aluminium. You can also see beryllium and helium-3 in this vicinity. So this is a great spot to place an outpost down and to mine all of those resources. But I have spent about a few minutes trying to find this spot. If this wasn't you, you'd be running along here and you see how the resources that are available disappear. You're like, well, this only has iron and beryllium. I want to try and find a spot with both iron and aluminum, and also helium-3 if you're very, very lucky. And hopefully, eventually, you do find a spot like mine that has both of them. So when you do, I'll go back to the spot that has all three. You place down your little outpost, right? And then you can go to this toggle view and go to your aluminum extractor first and be like, all right, well, here is an aluminum deposit, aluminium deposit, and it only has one. Next up is beryllium. You're going to need beryllium as well. I'll cover that in a second. So you can see some beryllium little spots here. And then next up is iron. There's probably going to be an iron spot there around here somewhere, but we've only just got a little bit of it. So as you can see, this is probably not the best spot for iron, and you're going to need a lot of iron in this. So what you would want to do is exit out of this, delete your outpost, and then move it slightly to where your iron is in a bit of a better location. So again, you pop up to this, go to iron, and now you can see, oh look, we're covering slightly more of the iron. Maybe I want to move it more to the right. But hold on, my aluminium I need to make sure is still in the circle as well. So you need to try and keep moving your outpost and finding a spot where you're covering both resources. This is another one of the downsides of Androphon that I found, is that you don't have that many spots to place all these extractors, because let's say you want to place your aluminum extractors in this spot. You could probably only place about 4 of them because you have to space them out every so often. So you only have this one spot for aluminum and you can only have 4 extractors. Same goes for iron. I could probably move this so it's a bit of a better spot, but you might only be able to place 4 or 5 in this spot. There's another planet, which I can show you, which allows you to mine different materials, but they're so much more abundant. When you go to that planet, you can see so many more resources and spots to mine resources in close vicinity with each other. So Androphon is good because you're going to need a ton of aluminum and a ton of iron, right? And I would still recommend doing this in any event in your game. But let me show you the second planet, which I found is a little bit better. And this is shout out to Reddit user Kale199. He was the one that found this in the Altair system. So I'm going to pull out here. That's where Narion is. That's where Alpha Centauri is. And then this is where Altair is. So you go to Altair, and in particular, I've already built the outpost here, as you can see, is Altair 4-C. So let me go to my outpost. The reason why this planet is good is because it has 2 particular resources, different from aluminum and iron, but 2 resources that you can also craft a certain item to get XP very, very fast. So I've already placed down my outpost here, but again, you'll have to go through the similar process of finding an area that has both the resources that you need. But you'll find on this planet, you'll find nickel and cobalt everywhere close to each other. So if I pulled out to my outpost system and I went all the way up, you can see how much cobalt is in this one spot. And then I got a nickel. You can see how much nickel is in this one spot. And I probably didn't place this in the best way, but I'm just going to leave it for now. So when you go to this planet, you can mine so much of each of these at the same time and scale up your system where you're getting a ton of XP. And I found it's much easier to find these spots on this planet. This was the first one that I found, to be honest. I just landed on this spot and I found so much cobalt and nickel. So if you want a bit of an easier time, go to this planet. If you want it's a bit of a harder time, but you're mining more important resources like aluminum and iron, because you're going to need those even for this particular outpost, then you go to Androphon. Tomato, tomato, doesn't really matter. We're going to stick with Altair here because I actually do like this spot. But either way, you're going to have to get aluminum and iron somehow. So if you do want to mine it on the other planet and bring them here, then you can do that. But I'll show you another way to get all the resources that you need. So we have our outpost. What to do next? We need to build a ton of stuff. So let's go to Jemison. We need to go to a shop and buy a bunch of things. Okay, so now we're in the Alpha Centauri system. Of course, we are on Jemison, as I said. And on Jemison, you can find a shop called Jemison Mercantile. It's essentially in the spaceport area. You run into the main area here, and Jemison Mercantile is here. This place is going to give you literally all the resources that you need. Now, you are going to need some amount of credits to be able to buy this stuff. It's not much. I think you can get by with like 10,000, and most of you probably have way more than that, right? So you're just going to use this shop to buy all the resources that you need. If you want to mine them on planets, if you want to go to Androphon to use that for your iron and aluminum, you can do that. But I find it way easier just to buy all the stuff that you need. So step 1 here, empty out as much of your stuff as you can. You're going to want to buy a ton of resources here. So you speak with this lady. The main things that you want to buy is, as I said, aluminum, iron. She also sells adaptive frames here as well. And adaptive frames, you're going to need to build a lot of those, and you need aluminum and iron to build those. That's why all those are really important. And you're also going to need tungsten, beryllium, and copper. Okay, so those are the main things that you need to purchase from her. So what I'm going to do, and you're going to see I have 49,300 credits. So I want to buy all her adaptive frames. I want to buy all her aluminum. I want to buy all her beryllium. I want to buy all of her copper, as I said. I want to buy all of her iron. If you want to buy some helium-3 to do some cargo links, feel free to do it while you're here. And you want to buy all her tungsten. As you can see, I only went down by about 1,000 credits. So every time you wipe out her shop with these resources, it only goes down by 1,000 credits. Then what you want to do is go all the way to these chairs here and wait 24 hours for her shop to reset. Keep doing that until you get loaded up on all of these resources as much as you can. Literally as much as you can carry. If you want to be over encumbered, you can. That doesn't really matter. But load up on all of these resources. Just keep reloading and keep buying and keep buying. This might take you a little bit, but trust me, just get it out of the way now so you have all the resources that you absolutely need. So I'm going to skip to the next point where we have everything. The main important thing that I want you to keep in mind is that if you ever do get close to being over encumbered, you are going to need way more iron and aluminum than any other piece of resource, okay? So do stock up on your tungsten, copper, and your beryllium, but you don't need to go crazy with those resources. You need to get loads of aluminum and iron, okay? So as you can see, I've been waiting for almost 24 hours. It takes a little bit sometimes. And then you just want to go back to the shop, buy all those items again, and reload until you're over encumbered. Alrighty, so we're back, and as you can see, I am loaded and stocked up on resources. I'm really over encumbered. I only spent about 8,000 credits. So again, it's not that much to get you started. And eventually you're going to be able to sell stuff to get you a ton of credits through this system anyways. But it's okay that I'm over encumbered because I just wanted to have a bunch of resources. Don't have to keep traveling back and forth, all right? So the next thing that you want to do if you are over encumbered, just run back to your ship. You might get a little bit hurt. You can walk slowly if you want to prevent the CO2 build up. But it doesn't matter, like if you're a little bit over encumbered. You're going to have some health packs anyways. Health is not going down that low anyway. So build up and stock up on as much as you can. Then go use your ship to fly back to your outpost and we can start building this system. So we're going to jump to that. Alrighty, so now we're back at this lovely outpost and we're going to start building this system to get you loads of XP. So pull up your outpost menu and the first thing that you want to do is build all the extractors that you need. You build as many as you can with the resources that you have, and then you get more resources and you come back and keep building and building and building until you've completely exhausted all of these resource crops here, okay? But for now, I'm just going to show you it with 4 of each extractor for each resource. So this is nickel. And I'm going to put 1 here, and you can see if you place it too close, it turns red, and it differs depending on the extractor as well. You can build nickel ones closer together than you can cobalt ones. But on this spot, I'm just going to do 4, just for the purposes of this video. And then in the cobalt one, I'll do 4 here as well. And you can see I can't build these nearly as close as the other ones. So that's why you want an outpost with as big of these resource, crops as possible, so you can squeeze in as many as you can. In this particular spot, I've been able to fit 16 of each. So you want to try and do as many of those as possible. So currently, let's just say, these are all the extractors that I want. Eventually, I'm going to want way, way more than that. But now I want a spot to house all of the resources that these extractors are mining. So what we want to do is build a bunch of storage containers. To build storage containers, you need adaptive frames, and that requires iron and aluminium. And the storage containers to build them themselves require iron and aluminium and adaptive frames. That's why iron and aluminium is so important, because you need so many of them. So for now, I'm going to be building 10 storage containers in total, so I need 30 adaptive frames. So I'm just going to be building 6 additional adaptive frames. Don't go crazy when you build adaptive frames, because it will reduce your iron and aluminium, which you need to build all the other stuff as well. So let's go back to this view. I'm going to place down an industrial workbench right here. And again, for my purposes, I just want to craft 6 more adaptive frames so I can build the 6. I'm an idiot. So I can build the 10 storage containers that I need. But eventually you're going to build a hell of a lot more than that. So now that I have the 6 adaptive frames and 30 in total, we're going to go back to the storage containers. So I like to kind of build these all in one spot. It can get finicky to place these down because sometimes they just don't like the level of the ground that they're on. But keep them separate if you can. Just visually, it's nice to know where your resources are going, and you want your resources to go to separate containers because some mine faster than others and you don't want to mix them together. It's just not a good thing. It's cleaner this way. So for one line here, and you can stack them up, you can stack them to the left or right or whatever you want to be. But this is going to be, let's just say that's my cobalt. And then this one over here will be for my nickel, okay? Let's see if I can place this to the right. You can see how kind of finicky, and I can't place it on that one because the level isn't right on the ground. Who really knows? Never been able to tell like why that shows up. But I have 5 for each. You're going to want more than that as you scale up, but let's just do it now for the purposes of this video. Now what you want to do is link up these storage containers, and they need to be done in a particular way. The way that I would suggest that you do it, okay, is all of these extractors, as I said, these nickel extractors are going to go to this line of storage containers here. I want to connect all of these extractors to just this first container, okay? The order does matter, so just be careful how you set these up. So I want to connect all of those nickel extractors to the one container. If you're on the other planet, that might be aluminum for you or it might be iron, okay? And now I can see all 4 of those are connected to this one container. And then you link this container to this one. And then this container to this one. And then this container to that one. And then that container to that one. The way this will work is that it'll start to fill this one first and then it'll transfer to all these other ones. So then when you sleep and it mines for you, all of these storage containers will be full of the resources that you need. Let's set it up with this one as well, okay? So what we want to do for cobalt, we will connect all 4 of these to the first one. Technically, you could connect each of them to each storage container separately, but this is much smarter and much better. So, or to this one, and then from this one, as I said, you go to that one, you go to that one, you go to that one, be careful, and you go to that one. Just make sure you set these up correctly. Now, all these extractors are in place, they're connected where they need to go, and the resources have somewhere to be. But they're not currently working yet. We need to power them. So what we want to do is place down a bunch of solar arrays. Make sure you place them down on a spot that does not have resource outcrops here because you don't want them to get in the way. You want to leave these spots for just the extractors. So you can go to your extractor points here and make sure there's nothing colored on the ground. So let's say this spot here is a nice little spot for all your solar arrays. And just build enough that you need. You can see in the bottom right hand corner, I need 40 power. So build enough to get you the power that you need. 28, 32, 36, and 40, right? I'll just place 2 more down for good measure as I build more. But yeah, just build enough for the power that you need because these also take up resources. Beryllium and copper, that's why you need them for this, plus aluminum as well. So now, as we can see, all of these extractors are actually extracting. They're doing their job. And the resources that they're extracting, they're mining, are no longer just staying in the extractor. They are going to each of these storage container lines that I've set up. So the way this system works is you build as many of these extractors as possible, as many of these storage containers as possible, as many of those solar arrays as possible, and then you sleep, and then you craft a bunch of a particular item. So let me show you how that works. Again, you're going to want to, let's just build up a bed. Probably set up a nice little habitat for yourself if you really want with a bed inside. But for the purposes of this video, we're just going to get a little bed here, okay? Terrible spot. I would usually build a nice little home. But what you want to do is wait 24 hours. Once you've set up your initial system, wait 24 hours just to make sure that it works, just to make sure your resources are going where they need to go, your extractors are working, all that kind of stuff. This should work out of the bat, but this is a nice way to test it. And the beauty about this is not only can you craft all these resources to get the experience that you need, but all these items that you're crafting and all these resources can be used to sell back to the vendor in Jemison Mercantile to get more resources to keep building and building and building. So that's how you're going to build this system. This gives you all the money that you need and all the experience points that you need. And again, you don't need cargo links. It's just the one planet to get this started, which is really why I like this particular planet in Altair. So we're almost set up. 1, 0. So as we can see, these should be nice and full of nickel. And they're all full. All of them are full because they're set up correctly. And all of these Cobalt is a little slower, mind you, but these should mostly be full, okay? So keep in mind, as I said, these different resources can, take longer to mine or extract than others, but this is going to be enough to demonstrate the whole process to you. So now what you want to do is head back to your little, where did it go? To your little industrial workbench here, and you want to craft a bunch of items. If you're on Altair and you are mining cobalt and nickel, you want to build and craft these magnets. If you are on Androphon and you're mining aluminum and iron, you are crafting adaptive frames. So depending on the planet that you are, you're going to have to craft each of these items. So you can see I have a ton of cobalt and a ton of nickel to craft all the isocentered magnets that I need. So what I'm actually going to do, it's way easier on mouse and keyboard, but I'm going to show you how fast this system actually works to get you XP. All right, I want to swap over my mouse and keyboard. So now that we're here, what you want to do is craft 99 at a time. If you're on a controller, you literally have to wait till this goes across. You can actually rebind your controller to make this way faster, but I'll show you how fast this can be on PC. So let's pull up the mouse and keyboard again. So I want to go to the magnet and I want to leave it on the spot where I can just click to 99 really fast, right? And then click OK again, and then you keep doing that, and that's how you get loads of XP. So I just got 500, 600, 700 XP very, very quickly because I've just used all the cobalt and the nickel that I have. As you scale up this system, it's going to get even better, and let me show you what that looks like. Alrighty, so welcome to my fully scaled up outpost where I can get a ton of XP. And as I said, this is essentially the system that you want to kind of get towards. I have a bunch of storage containers. There are also larger storage containers because I've been able to upgrade other skills because of all this leveling up. So I have a bunch of them here. It requires 4 or 5 days of sleeping or playing the game normally to get these all full. But as you can see, these are all full. And if I was to pull out my little outpost system, as you can see how these are all linked up, I've got all my solar arrays here. I've got all my nickel extractors all pointing to, it's at the bottom. So I've got the bottom one set up for all my nickel. And then all of my cobalt are going to the second row. So I've kind of stacked them up 2 by 2 that way. But if you want to keep them separate, as I showed you initially, you can do that. So they're all set up, all ready to go, 16 of each of them. As you can see by these little indicators on the storage containers themselves, they are all full. So let me show you the system that you can get to if you want to spend a bit more time on it. If you just want to have small storage containers and 10 of them in total, 20 of them in total, just to get you a bit extra XP, you can do that. You saw how quick and easy it was to set up that. But this is where you can eventually get to. So again, I'm making isocentered magnets, and we're going to pull up the mouse and keyboard instead for this. And we're on, let's get to the stage where it's 99. So I want to try and make sure the mouse is on 90. That's 98. 99. Look at how fast this XP builds up. It's actually kind of silly how quick this is. You're literally getting thousands of XP every minute. And you can just play the game as normal as all of your resources start to build up. You can sleep to force the issue. Whatever you want to do, look at how many magnets I'm able to craft. And it starts with the system that I showed you. So if you just want to begin with, as I said, 20 storage containers and a smaller amount of extractors, you can. And that's going to really help you, especially in the earlier levels of the game, if you just want to progress a little bit faster to get some skills. But as you get to level 50, 60, 70, leveling really slows down in Starfield. So I got myself so much XP, and I'm absolutely loving life. I don't know how many skill points I actually have to share now. 4 now. So this is how I've been leveling up. I'm now on level 70, as it says. But this is what you want to be getting towards, okay? And just be careful when you have a bunch of magnets. As you can see, you're really over encumbered, and these are super, super heavy when you have that many of them. But if you want to use the items that you craft to go back to a vendor and sell it and then get more resources, scale up this system, you can. I've provided you the tools to do it. You can set it up in a single night or a single day to be as small or as large as you want. So let's get to the conclusion of this video. Alrighty, Wastelanders, that's all from me. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And until next time, this has been Lone. Please take care of yourselves. And would you kindly keep fighting the good fight.